The modern world is not louder than it used to be. It is fuller. Noise isn't just found in decibels. It pulses through screens, scrolls, and globalized anxiety. To seek peace today is not to retreat to a mountaintop, but to build an inner refuge that travels with you, a portable stillness that withstands the din. This is not about escaping the world, but refining how you inhabit it. Across time, those who've thrived amid chaos, artists in war-torn cities, healers in overwhelmed wards, parents in cramped apartments, did so not by silencing their environments, but by mastering the art of selective listening. Their methods reveal that peace is not a place, but a practice. The first step is redefining what noise is. Noise is any force that scatters attention, fragments presence, or drowns out inner clarity. It could be a blaring ad, a colleague's complaint, or the gnawing guilt of an unanswered message. To combat it, begin by auditing your sensory and cognitive inputs. A chef in a chaotic kitchen, for instance, might focus solely on the sizzle of his own pan, tuning out clattering dishes and shouting orders. This is not denial, but filtration, training the mind to prioritize signals that serve the task at hand. The practice involves pausing daily to ask, does this input demand my energy, or can I let it pass like weather? Over time, this becomes instinctive, allowing you to navigate crowded spaces without being colonized by them. A potent counter to noise is the ritualization of anchor points. These are repetitive, sensory-focused actions that ground you in the present. Sailors in storms would tie themselves to the mast, not just physically, but mentally, fixing their gaze on the horizon to avoid dizziness. Modern equivalents might involve tracing the rim of a coffee cup each morning, feeling its heat and texture before drinking, or pausing to name 3 distinct sounds upon entering a hectic room. A teacher in a noisy classroom once shared that they tap their wedding ring twice against the desk before speaking, a tiny ritual that signals their brain, this is your space to think. These anchors act as psychic moorings, creating pockets of order in chaos. Next, we have the equally critical practice of cultivating inner silence through controlled friction. Noise thrives on speed. Silence is found in deliberate slowness. Introduce small, intentional delays between stimulus and response. When a notification pings, let it linger unread for 3 breaths. When someone interrupts, pause to finish a thought in your mind before engaging. This frictionless age rewards immediacy, but resistance builds resilience. A nurse in an emergency room described counting to 5 while washing hands between patients, not just for hygiene, but to mentally shed one crisis before facing the next. The space between what happens and what you do becomes a sanctuary, however brief. Another important method is environmental sculpting. While you can't eliminate external noise, you can curate microenvironments that counterbalance it. This isn't about soundproofing, but about creating contrast. A musician living above a subway station hung thick velvet curtains, not to mute the trains, but to absorb high frequencies, leaving the low rumble as a soothing rhythm. Similarly, someone working in an open-plan office might wear noise-canceling headphones playing brown noise, a deep, steady hum that neutralizes erratic chatter. The goal is not utter quiet, but the reduction of aggressive noise, sounds that hijack attention. Even in public spaces, you can carve out havens, a park bench angled away from foot traffic, a corner cafe table facing a wall. Peace is often a matter of degrees, not absolutes. The brain is not designed to juggle inputs, but to immerse in one stream. Historical artisans, potters, weavers, blacksmiths understood this. They found peace in rhythmic, singular focus. A software developer revived this by working in 90-minute blocks with a physical hourglass on their desk. For him, its grains became a visual mantra. This is the only task that exists. Each grain became a breath, a heartbeat, a reminder that depth is the antidote to fragmentation. The practice lies in resisting the myth of multitasking, which is merely the illusion of productivity, while switching costs erode clarity. The stories we tell ourselves, too, shape our relationship with noise. Stories about busyness, I'm overwhelmed, I have no choice, often reinforce helplessness. Rewriting these narratives reclaims agency. Instead of, I'm trapped in this meeting, try, I'm choosing to listen now. A journalist covering violent protests reframed his inner dialogue from I have to document this to I get to witness courage. This subtle shift transforms obligation into purpose, muffling the noise of resentment. Words act as tuning forks, resonating either harmony or dissonance within. Embracing productive disengagement is another shield. Noise gains power from the myth that every demand deserves a response, but attention is currency. Spending it wisely requires declaring bankruptcy on certain fronts. A social worker facing compassion fatigue instituted untouchable hours each week, periods where they hiked without a phone, letting emergencies be handled by others. This wasn't neglect, but clarity, recognizing that their ability to care depended on intervals of carelessness. The practice involves identifying expendable noise and divorcing it from guilt. Not every email needs an answer. Not every opinion requires your counterargument. And what about physicality? Noise lives in the mind, but the body can be its dissipator. Techniques like weighted grounding, standing barefoot while imagining roots growing from soles into the earth, borrow from ancient agrarian rituals where laborers steadied themselves through tactile connection to soil. A traffic controller in a frenetic airport adopted this by pressing their palms flat against a cool wall between shifts, visualizing stress draining into the structure. The body, when engaged fully, can short-circuit mental static. Lastly, finding rhythm in randomness converts noise into music. Urban soundscapes, honking cars, distant laughter, ticking clocks are not inherently disruptive. They become so through interpretation. A composer once turned a city's cacophony into a symphony by mapping sounds to musical notes. Yes, and while not everyone can transpose noise into art, anyone can reframe it as life's ambient score. A parent trapped in a noisy household might time deep breaths to the rhythm of their children's play, transforming chaos into a pulse for calm. This practice doesn't silence the world, but changes your relationship to its soundtrack. You need not vanish into a cave to find quiet. You can build a citadel within. The clamor of the world is inevitable, but invasion is optional. Each practice is a brick in that citadel's walls, not to isolate you from life, but to let you engage with it wholly, hearing the music beneath the noise, the signal within the static. Finding peace in a noisy world, then, is not about lowering the volume, but raising your discernment. It's the recognition that silence isn't the absence of sound, but the presence of clarity. A choice to listen, moment by moment, not to the world's shouts, but to your own still, small voice.